Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Dan Cartalicchio. I want to welcome you to another segment of Destination Health Podcast, Finding Function in a Dysfunctional World. And we have back on Gina Aliotti. Gina, how many times have you been on the podcast? Is it 3 or 4?
I want to say, gosh, it definitely is 3. Maybe it is 4.
I think it's 4 because I think we did one for the summer one. And you and I were doing squats for your summer squats, which my son and we do every year. So we're going to do it again this year.
I was just thinking about that when I was showering. I was out that, we always connect around the summertime when we're kind of ramping things up, and how nice it is for us to connect as we're kind of entering into the new year, and it's just a different energy. So
it's a different energy. Yeah. Cause usually we're around the summertime. So listen, I'm going to give a 2-second bio. If you don't know who Gina is, she's a figure pro, one of the most prolific figure pros in the history of history of pro. And she has written a book, and it's called Your Feathered Soul. And I saw that she was writing this book, and I said, Gina, when it's ready to go, let's get you on the podcast, because I think that this is important. You and I were talking about this before. People are coming out of what we're coming out of, and everybody's stressed. Everybody's all over the place. Nobody's calming down, right? We're coming out of what we're coming out of. We can't even mention it, right? We're coming out of what we're coming out of. People are stressed. They've gained 50 to 60 pounds. Their lives are in shambles. Their marriages are in shambles. They're in shambles. And it's just not working out right now. And we're trying to come out of everything. And you wrote this book called Your Feathered Soul. Okay. Take us to the book. What was the motivation to write the book? How did this all come about, Gina?
My heart and soul is just flooding the pages here. I've been doing fitness and nutrition and life coaching and whatnot for several years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had this element of the mindset, because as we all know, if you're an athlete or not, how powerful the mind is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always sprinkled in these mantras. And so every Monday it's a mantra. I have an audio that I share, and it's how to get you, you can have a plan in front of you. You can have your nutrition plan, your training plan, but how do you actually get yourself to execute the plan? Because excuses are going to come in, that ego is going to come in, the voices are going to come in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, how do we bypass all of that and get us into motion so that we can live our best life, so that we can actually dive into the meal plan or dive into the workout plan. And so I've always incorporated these mindset hacks and mantras. And over the course of the past several years of my own kind of turning inward, I've just seen the power of how these have affected so many people and helped them to activate, to get them into activation mode. And so in a meditation, actually, I had the download to put all these mantras together, because you can hear them and they, people are always like, I love your mantras. They keep me going. But something about having them in your hand that you can actually read, and then a journal prompt at the end where you can actually dive into the curiosity behind each mantra has been really powerful for my own transformation and for my clients. So I put all the 52 of my most powerful, that was the hardest part, mantras, and put them in a book. So each week is a new mantra, starting off. The first one is that stepping mindset. People always are going into the new year marathon pace, right? I'm going to go for it. And then getting people to, no, we're going to step in, and we're going to keep stepping, and we're going to keep stepping. So these little mantras that have come through for me, and then they're delivered each week. So it allows people to really dive into what this mantra means, not only for me, but the reason why it's called Your Soul is for you. How is this going to be worked into your life?
So, me, I always have 1,000 questions when you're talking. Did you use this during your competitive days?
So, well, I think the mantras have evolved, because there was something always that's been in my mindset. I mean, I think that's what it takes to be at that level, right? Is how do you do something when you don't want to do it? When it's 11 o'clock at night and you need to get in those reps, and the first thing you want to do is go to bed. The last thing you want to do is go to the gym and get in those last sets. But we have to break through that mindset. So it's really this mindset that's been cultivated. I call it the champion mindset over the years and years of executing
Mhm.
this, unlocking that potential that we all have within us. And that's the thing, Dan, is that so many people look at me
Mhm.
or anybody else who is successful, however you want to term that, or
Right.
doing it, and they think, she has something I don't have.
Mhm.
And so what this book and the mindset is really helping people to see, no, we all have the same potential. It's all within us. It's just how
Right.
we activate it
Right.
that is gets us in motion. And so all of these mantras, and I have little antidotes in each one
Mhm.
of what I was doing or when this came through for me or how I was not feeling it, and just flipped my mindset to see a different perspective.
I love that you're saying this because there are so many people today who are rather, like I said, we're coming out of what we're coming out of, and they're down, right? They're depressed. They're not living to their fullest potential. And they may see somebody like you know, who's successful and somebody who's been on stage and saying, oh, you know, she has that, whatever it is that I don't have, right? Because that's usually the first comment that somebody makes. And there's always a little feeling in there where, you know, there's a little jealousy, there's a little bit of anger towards that individual. But this is great that you're saying that it could be anybody that, if they want to get on stage. So if somebody's 20 years old and they want to get on stage, and you're helping them out, and they purchase your book, you know, which I recommend, what you need to do is you need to follow that. So it's week by week. Is that what you're saying? Is that what this is? So it's a book that's meant to be read over a full year's time.
Correct. But however, you can pick it up wherever you are. The book is meant, I mean, of course you read it through, but then what I often do with the book is I'll just open it, and I'll say, okay, surrender to the no. Okay, this, and what you realize is that wherever you land is often that message that you need the most in your life. So
Mhm.
it's beautiful how it works on a weekly basis, but
Mhm.
then also, throughout the year, but then you can also pick it up after you've read through it and open it, and you're always going to get what it is that you need most in that moment. That's just how it works.
So
So yeah.
it seems like the last time we spoke, you've had a bit of a transformation yourself, right? So what was that transformation? What was the motivation behind writing this book then?
Well, you mentioned something about how, people always like will look at somebody and think that they have, oh, she has
Mhm.
something I don't have. I kind of got a little frustrated with people seeing maybe the way I look and saying, "Oh, you just have it easy," or you just something about you, you're able to get up every day and own the day. And I'm thinking, no, 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 you have it completely wrong. Every
Mhm.
day is not, I don't wake up and jump up and say, I'm ready to go. I have to cultivate this mindset, and I have to get out
Right.
of my own way. And so it's really through these mantras that I'm teaching. When people say, how do you stay so consistent? They're usually like, what meal plan are you following? What diet are you
Right.
following? And I've always said, no, it's building this consistency, and it's really up in the mind. And so now when people ask that question, I can say it's all right here. How am I so consistent? These are the mantras and the mindset hacks that have allowed me to get
Right.
out of bed when I don't feel like it, and just see things a different way that get me into action. And so the midst of my shift has really been about working not only personally on my own transformation and evolution and growth, which
Of
we're all
course.
after, but seeing with my clients this need to just really slow down. Speaking of surrender to the no, slow down, and to have a little bit of curiosity as to why things are coming up for them and why they
Right.
are having a hard time staying consistent. And so, just working with clients and helping them to slow down and to take some time in silence and meditation, and to now
Right.
add the element of the journaling so that they can
Right.
get their feelings out and just express themselves on paper, has been the most healing and transformative piece to the puzzle that people shy away from because they don't
Right.
have time, or they don't want to, face what's going to come up, or whatever it is. So where I'm going with my business and personally is adding in this element that is really missing from people's lives, of the meditation and the
Right.
journaling and the surrendering to that stillness.
I think this is great because it's going to give people an opportunity. I guess in my day, it's kind of like you're figuring your stuff out because I don't know. Again, you want to lose, you need to lose 50 pounds. You're a type 2 diabetic. We'll just go with something like this. You know, it's tough for people because they have a certain mold and they have a certain way and a certain lifestyle that they've been following for decades, perhaps some learned behavior that they've had from parents and grandparents and so forth. And they're just perpetuating all of that stuff. This is the program so that you can figure that out and then make those changes. Am I correct in assuming this?
100%. So, we become victims, right? At some point, we're a victim to our story or to our childhood or whatever it is. And this is really about empowering people to become the hero of their own story.
Sure.
And to start to rewrite that story, because we get so wrapped up in the day-to-day, that cycle. It's very normal. I do this, I do that. And you start to believe these things that you've been telling yourself over time. I don't have what it takes. I'm not worthy. I'm going to fail. Everything I do, I'm going to fail at. And it's
right
at any moment. And this is what I love so much. At any moment, we have the opportunity to make a shift. At any moment, and one of them is making that micro shift. People think that you have to take these massive shifts, but it's these tiny micro shifts that have the most impact on your life.
Yeah.
And how at any moment right now, we can choose to write a different story, and we can choose to step into the day or the week completely different. And so that's really what this is all about, and where I get so excited about, because when people can start to take ownership of their own story and be the hero, the confidence soars, the health regulates, the nervous system calms down, and there's just this more sense of like, I'm in control of my destiny.
Right. And a big issue today, and what everybody's talking about, is calming your nervous system down, right? Because we're always ramped up, we're always in that sympathetic state, that flight or fight type of a state. And geez, before I had my heart attack, I was just like, uber sympathetic state, during those times. But you need time to bring it down, because that's where the juice is, as far as I'm concerned, and the work that I'm doing. That's the juice where you really literally see things in a different way, and you see what errors you're making in life, right? Is that the way that you're looking at this too?
Yes. However, I don't use the word error, because I don't think
Right.
anything is an error in life, right? I believe
Right.
that we're learning and we're growing, and I call them blessings. It's a blessing
They're
that it happened because it
lessons.
teaches us a lesson. Right? But absolutely, it's just coming through it with a different lens of asking the question why, and seeing the control that we have over our own selves versus using outside forces to control our day. Oh, it's a cloudy day, it's gonna be just one of those days. No, at any moment, you have the ability to see the sunshine. And when you don't rely on people, places, or things to bring that happiness, and you can find it from that inner state of stillness, it's so empowering to realize that we have all of this medicine within ourselves.
I love this, because this is something that really is going to help out a lot of individuals, where they can get the confidence, right? Like you said, they may look at you and they may Google you or something like that. They're saying, "Oh, Gina's lucky because she's on stage and she's nice and her stomach is flat, and I'm just not that way at this particular point." But you can be that way, and you can get that way. And it is these little small steps, because when you were competing, and when you were training, Gina, it didn't happen one day. You're at the gym at 11 o'clock, and then all of a sudden you became Gina Aliotti, right? Am I right in that? That's just crazy thinking the way that it goes, right? It took you how long to get to where you are, right?
Yeah. I mean, and this is what people forget, and I think it's just the world that we're living in. You want instant gratification, you
Right.
want instant success, you want instant results. And I'm having to continue to have this conversation with my clients. I'm actually jumping on a call after our call, and I'm going to be talking about this exact subject. And just, people were on a 7 week New Year's challenge that I do every year. And they're, they're seeing results, but they're questioning, why aren't they greater? And I'm like, first of all, we go about things differently. We have a stepping mindset. We don't have this sprinter's mindset, because my goal is your long-term. It's not for you to kill it and then burn out because,
Right.
you crushed
That
it
was my
for several,
next
right?
question, because what happens is that everybody wants to do the 100-yard dash in a world record of like 8.5 seconds. And when they don't get that, they decide to get off. Because how many individuals have you trained over the years where, they set a goal, they want to look a certain way, they want to be a certain way, they want to lose a certain amount of weight, and then, you know, February is a busy time in my office for weight loss, because I let everybody set their goals, and then when it doesn't happen, right, because they get frustrated, then they're looking for something different, right?
Right. Yeah. And the analogy that I'm actually going to share, this beautiful story of, you know, the bamboo tree. Have you heard of the bamboo tree and how it grows?
Hmm.
So it's
Tell
just
us.
such
Go
a
ahead.
great
Go for
analogy.
it.
Yeah. It's, the bamboo tree, if you have bamboo forest, they grow feet and feet up into the sky, right? It's like the highest growing tree ever. And you have the seed of a bamboo tree, and then you have a fern, and you're watering the bamboo seed and you're watering the fern, and the fern's taking off, and you're wondering, why is this bamboo tree not taking off? I'm watering it every single day. And if you give up on yourself and stop watering it, it's going to die. However, if you continue to water it, after 5 years of tending to that seed, all of a sudden it takes off in the tree. You can't even keep up with the tree. I highly recommend you just Google the growth of a bamboo tree. And it's such a great analogy, because people are so quick to stop watering their tree because they don't see the results. But what they have forgotten about is that the results are happening. The reason why it takes so long for that bamboo tree to skyrocket
Hmm.
and to grow and to sprout is because it grows so high and so strong that it needs
Hmm.
that time to cultivate that powerful root system that's going to allow it to grow so tall. Meanwhile, because we're not visually seeing the growth of the tree, we're
Right.
thinking nothing's happening, right? But if you remove the soil, you see, oh my goodness, the root system and that foundation that's being
Right.
laid by the daily stepping and the daily tending is
Right.
what is going to support the growth of this tree. And so it's just beautiful how people are wanting to shoot up after 3 days of watering,
It
but
doesn't
they
happen
need to
that
take
way.
the time to set that foundation.
So what happens to your brain when you're doing these mantras and journaling? What does it do for you? What is it that changes and makes you more confident, more motivated, more focused? What is that when you're using your mantras and your journaling?
So I start every morning with stillness, and I kind of just like remove everything. So I call it my feathered start to my day.
Hmm.
But what I talk about in the introduction of the book is that most of my mantras come through for me. It's like
Hmm.
this divine source that I have, this like channel when I'm swimming. And I found swimming to be the channel that allows me to connect with these messages. And so it's like when I'm swimming and, water has that ability to just
Hmm.
allow that flow.
Hmm.
You mentioned earlier talking about like when things are working for you, I call that flow state. And when you can remove the noise of life and the
Hmm.
chaos and you get more into that flow state, things start to flow through you and to
Hmm.
you. And so it's from my swims, which have just become, they're just so special to me, not only for the exercise part of it, but for the mindset.
Hmm.
And so as I'm swimming and all the distractions are removed, I don't have headphones attached. It's just me and the water and the sky and the air and just the beautiful,
Hmm.
energy of the day is
Hmm.
when they come through for me. And usually, I'm having a hard swim or just have these thoughts that come up. And at some point I realized the power of these mantras, but
Hmm.
then when I really like spent some time in my own stillness, realize this is a gift. I had to really see these are gifts that I have that are not just meant for me. These are meant to be gifted to other people, because if they can
Absolutely.
help change mindset, I'm doing a disservice to not put these in a podcast or to put these in,
In
a
your
book
book.
so other people can experience them. Yes.
So for your clients, what have you seen What has been the end result of the mantras in the journaling? What have you seen in your clients?
A lot of resistance at first because they don't know how to slow down.
And you know
And
what? This is why I love to have Gina on, because she's honest. Because I was looking for that answer, right? Because if you're going to tell me that they just dove right into it, Gina, I was going to say, come on now, right? Because there's always resistance when there's change and it's a little bit different, right? There's always, see, that's why I love having you on. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, but I mean, it's like there's a lot of resistance and a lot of pushback. But one thing my clients, because of, just the years and years of what I've been doing, I do have that trust factor. So
Right.
most people come to me, they do trust and they surrender and they just say, okay, like I'm going, and this is the only way things are going to work is if you do, lean into your doctor or to your coach fully so that you can experience for yourself if it's actually going to work. So I do
Right.
have that little variable going for me that people have that trust.
Absolutely.
And so there's the resistance. And then we work closely to kind of, why is there resistance? Why are you having a hard time slowing down? And I kind of, propose these questions, and then they start to little by little, they have that curiosity, and it just starts organically where you start to, that's a good question, Gina. And eventually what happens, and everybody's different, but eventually, and it happens pretty quickly, you just crave this time, especially as busy moms, entrepreneurs, we're on the go all the time. And you just find, I call my space where I surrender when I'm not in the pool. I call it my nest, because it's just that happy place where it's like, no matter what's happening around you, you can drop in and it just, you feel so comforted and supported. And so my clients feel the same way. They just crave stepping into their nest and just experiencing just that true connection to self and to heart.
Right. I love this. I love that you put this book together. Um, Tell me, what is it that you want to bring to the world with this book?
I want people to realize that they have that same potential as everyone else, and that they have the
Hmm.
power within
Hmm.
themselves to shift their mindset. And the title of the book is Your Feathered Soul, and it says 52 weeks of mantras and journal prompts to help shift your mindset and step into the life you're meant to be living.
Right.
So my goal with this book is for people to witness their own power, and for
Hmm.
them to finally get out of their own way so that they can step into the life that they are meant to be living. Because I feel like people are limiting themselves based on those old stories that we talked about, or those limiting beliefs,
All the time.
that all it is a story that we're telling ourselves. And it's through these mantras and these like little nuggets of curiosity, you start to realize like, wow, I do have control over this. It's
Hmm.
not, what's going on outside, and we all can like be witnesses of this craziness that we've experienced the past couple of years, where people may feel like they have no control anymore. Like, I don't even, and so I've found that from this place of realizing, no, you can control what you can only do what you can control and focus on that. You can change your mindset at any
Hmm.
moment, choose to step in differently. You can
Hmm.
choose to believe a different story. And so when I see people that step in from this place of, I don't want to say weakness, but kind of like they have like a scarcity mindset or a little bit of fear that kind of
Right.
coats their direction, and to see them feel empowered and to gain confidence. And from there, then all of a sudden they skyrocket and they start to just see themselves in a different light. I see, not only do I see like the confidence shining through them, but it's from this place where the nervous system starts to calm down. They literally like remove these layers of like these belief systems. They start to remove it and start to see at the core who they are and their capabilities and their potential. And so for me, it's
I
just, I
love
get
that.
so excited
Yeah,
to
you can
step
see the
in.
passion. You can see the passion coming through. You can
Yeah.
see that you want to help individuals. So we're almost done here. We have a few more minutes. Where can people purchase the book?
So you can purchase it on Amazon, and it comes within just a few days. And yeah, I'm going to have it available on my website as well. If anyone wants a signed copy, I did get a couple requests for that, but I'm in the process of creating a new website. So currently through Amazon is where you'd find it.
All right. So do I have to wait for the new website to come up before I get my signed copy?
No, coming your way, Dr. Dan, of course.
All right. You have
I've
my
got you
address
covered.
because I want to read the book. And then when I'm into the book, we're going to have you back on again. And I'll probably have 1,000 other questions for that because I want my signed copy for my library. So Amazon,
Got
go
it.
on. All right, you're going to put in your feathered soul, Gina Aliotti, Aliotti, and get your book. We recommend that you get this book. This is a great book, and there it is: mantras, journaling, life. Your roadmap to a better life. So let's get back into this. I know that we're coming out of a lot of craziness, but this is a tool that you can utilize. So we recommend this 100%. Gina, always a pleasure, my friend, to see you. It's been great talking to you. And thank you for coming on again today.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention one more thing. I don't even think I shared this with you, but I have I launched my podcast. So I actually have a mantra. I have a mantra that comes out every Monday and it goes in alignment with the book. So you kind of get the audio version as well. I drop the mantras every Monday, just less than 10 minutes, quick little nuggets so that you can just listen to it on your way to work and be like, oh, okay, that I like
Where
that
where
one.
where can
And
we
then,
where can we do where can we find this? The
it's on
podcast.
Spotify and iTunes. Spotify and iTunes is called the Feathered Soul Podcast.
The Feathered Soul Podcast. All right. Did you have any guests on yet?
It's so funny that you asked that. So I just launched it in January, and every Monday I launch the mantra, which is me speaking on a mantra. And then a couple, randomly I'll have guests come on, and I just released my first guest today, my girlfriend and one of my a dear friend of mine and my breath work coach. And we talk all about the power of the breath and getting in, getting out of that sympathetic, dropping into the
I
parasympathetic,
love
getting out
breath
of the
work.
head into the heart.
Love it. Love
So
it. I love
good
it.
stuff.
We're talking on the same page here. It's all good. So everybody, all of our
Yes.
listeners, please share this podcast with your families, friends, neighbors, and coworkers. Get the book, listen to the podcast. Links will be in the show notes so that you can go directly to it. So Gina, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you very much. And for coming on today.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you everybody
Thank you
for
so
listening.
much.
As Gina says, this is the best day ever. So everybody have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye.